Point of care for NCDs, that's the point. Dr. Hema Divakar, in conversation with Dr. Vinay Chauhan from Pathsodh. Vinay is an Indian Institute of Science Bangalore alumnus with a PhD in nanoscience and engineering. It has been his motto to ease the burden of people suffering from chronic diseases and serve society. He is serving as the CEO and head of R/D at Pathsodh Healthcare Private Ltd, Bengaluru. His focus has been to invent out-of-the-box solutions based on deep scientific exploration and translate scientific innovations into products to serve the population at large.
Hello friends, welcome to the Femtech 360 Podcast yet again. And in this new era where we talk so much about lifestyle diseases, but we know that to maintain a good lifestyle, it's all about eating and exercises. And what are we doing to ourselves in most spheres in our own life? Sitting at our desk, you want the groceries, it comes to your doorstep. You want the vegetables, it also comes to your doorstep. Laundry to be handled, again, it's back to you. So the mindset is don't move people, but move the lab onto your doorstep. And of course, many are actually needing this provision because there are serious concerns why they may not be able to actually approach the lab, or the bigger laboratories are non-existent. So that is one part of the India story, or it happens in most low middle income countries. But another thing is that somehow the blood sample is collected from home and the laboratory has to be close enough to have that access. But can we do something more than this? Can we have some point of care devices where then and there you immediately get to know the results so that the further management decisions of how to flag you to the next stage of well-being is something that the path is what we have to discover. So the short is the discovery and the path is the path. So we have none other than Dr. Vinay Kumar Chauhan with us, the CEO and the founder of the Pathsodh, as the name itself implies. Vinay, tell us more about how you hit upon this idea. How did you feel the need for such a thing, especially so in our country? And what does your device do?
Thank you, Dr. Hema. It is indeed a pleasure to talk to you today on a very important topic of point of care diagnostics, where the whole goal is like anytime, anywhere, where is the point, where is the patient, the diagnostic should reach. This is the whole mission of, Pathsodh Healthcare. Mm-hmm. I will give you a little background. I'm Vinay, and the journey started, way back in 1997. I would say when my age was 14 years in high school, and I was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. So. In fact, I come from the remote location in Western UP, and this disease, though the blood glucose was not a very unknown disease, but juvenile diabetes was unknown. In my whole neighboring villages, also I was the only juvenile diabetic, and the biggest surprise was like diagnostics was not easy in the village because there was no doctor, and of course there's no pathology lab, and my treatment was delayed something like 4 to 6 months, and there was very some alternate medicine, some home remedy in the village. The neighbor were telling you can take this powder, that powder, or even some doctor who are not very trained, but they were giving some different color tablets and all that. But my condition was deteriorating every day.
Do you recall all this so clearly, or your parents told you that this is what you went
I
through?
was in high school, so it is not, I was not very small boy,
Hmm.
but because this was a, as I said, that shock to me and to my family. And after 6 months, when it was very difficult for me even to stand up, I was taking something like 10 liter of the water in the night, frequent urination, and all type of symptoms, huge weight loss, and all that. Then somebody in the village suggested, okay, maybe you should go to city. There are the doctors there, and I remember very clearly the day my mother, who was a in a basic primary school teacher, she took me to the doctor, and doctor did my blood glucose first after hearing the symptom.
Oh, till then you were taking all kinds of things without even being tested or diagnosed.
No, not at all.
Ah.
Nobody tested the simple glucose. And I remember we visited to the, the city in morning, early morning, and the report came, late evening, whole day sitting to that doctor's office. And it was very high, something like more than 400, 500, into that range. And the doctor told that this child has a disease, diabetes, and he was trying to explain my mother. And of course, nobody was aware about what is this. And I, as a kid, was thinking that maybe he will give some medicine and I will be all right next week. And so my mother. But it was the almost 30 minutes doctor was trying to explain indirectly that this is a very bad and severe and chronic condition, and I doubt that whether you should continue the education of the children.
Oh my God.
Child, because
and look at where you reached today. Wow, that deserves an applause in itself before even I hear anything more. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was like, I was into the doctor cabin, and in the village system, when I was doing high school, my school was itself something like many kilometers away from village. We were going by walk, and when doctor heard that, he said it will be very risky because the diagnosis what came is it is very chronic, and I have to give some injections. They have its own side effects. If somebody will not take care, then he can faint, he can go to coma, and all sort of that situation he trying to explain. But my mother was very, very courageous lady. And
yes.
because the situation in education system in the village and nearby was like, if somebody's high school pass, then that is sufficient. She told, no, you should tell what need to be done. I will not stop the education. This I very clearly, and this was the line which I remember even today, and I ran so far actually. Then doctor said, okay, you need
at the backdrop of the Mother's Day that we are recording this is really a tribute to her. Yeah.
This is really true, because sometimes I don't believe in any scientific heroism actually. I say. We believe on the very rational and unbiased thought process. We should have the deep research onto that. But what supported me when I look back, and the mother's courage is very important for a baby actually. When doctor told that you have to take every day these injections, so insulin they started, and now I don't know how to take insulin. No doctor available in the village. Doctor is available 11 kilometers from the village. Now how to take the insulin every day? And he said, without taking it, you cannot eat anything. So this was like a fight for whole family. And as I mentioned, we came from like a farming background where the buffalo is the integral part of the family. And this was the battle started, that I was, wake up in the morning and then looking in the neighbor villages, where is the doctor who can, give me this shot, and then I can eat something. Me, my mother, my father, everybody was searching the doctor. If it is, in 1 kilometer, 3 kilometer, if we will not the doctor who can
Who can
give
give?
the injection.
Yeah.
So that was a type of struggle when I very, it was like I was the child stage, but I was observing these things.
Yeah.
Something like it was very frequent, because doctor was then associated with my life, integral part of my
Mm,
life, career
mm.
and all. And then because in juvenile diabetes, actually you have to go through with all the competitions with the world,
One
actually.
side is this injection. You found the doctor or somebody else who can give the injection, but the monitoring, that is the again laboratory requirement for quite some miles away.
Yes, in fact, monitoring was just missing from my early treatment.
Mm.
I was going, we could not afford like every those day to day monitoring and all
Right.
that, so it was once in a month monitoring. And in that also, go early morning, sometime report is coming next day, then again come have this some buzz something, and the whole day is spoiled. And there was of course no like glucometer type of devices, so it was like a great struggle, actually.
Vinay, you're telling this about 1990s, but I do remember that just a decade ago, just
Correct.
about 10 years ago, women in pregnancy with diabetes in
Right.
the rural areas, okay, no monitoring, no clue as to whether why they had it, and they were always constantly in a mode of denial, okay, and then there is no supportive supervision for them to guide them through a normoglycemic state, as we call normal sugars,
Exactly.
then the baby doesn't experience the impact of the environment with the high sugars. As recently as this, and then everybody in the team is quite happy doing the testing once a month, whereas in pregnancy there are a lot more fluctuations and you got to do many times in a day. So this
Correct.
was just to never happen. No, no, at the most we can step it up to twice a month. We said not good enough. And then, we really had to battle with the government to approve of a point of care with the glucometer. Okay, girl,
Correct.
this much at least you must. So this is like, you had this thought process 4 decades ago.
Yeah, and the situation, because demographic, in our country is too fluctuating. Even in many parts,
Hmm.
still the situation is alarming.
Yes.
When we look at the chronic disease, where
Yes.
early detection is very important. I saw, in very recent also in the family, if girl has the in the juvenile diabetes
Hmm.
detection, many parents trying to hide it,
Hide it. Absolutely. Hmm.
and you should look what type of the mental trauma those children
Yes.
went through. So this was like my first interaction, or my first introduction to the pathology or the
Hmm.
testing.
Hmm.
Then of course, with my mother's blessing, she
Hmm.
promoted me, you should do. I completed my masters in Dow in electronics. Then I did my another masters MTech in microelectronics and designing. And uh, it was giving me the confidence, because one thing is like, you have to earn your own insulin, otherwise how to survive. So this was the question. If I will not earn something, I will not read. Then at one time I was very tense. Like, if this company who is manufacturing insulin, they
Hmm.
stop, then what will happen to my life?
Hmm.
At a young age, it was a logical question in my mind, because
Yeah,
if I
no,
won't take 2 days,
hmm.
then I will faint.
No, but given the fact that COVID did impact the supply chains. Even now it's a reality that many didn't get to their medications.
Correct.
So we can relate to this. So it is so, I mean, anything can happen and anywhere it can stop. So that the one who is experiencing these struggles knows it the best.
Correct.
Hmm.
So like that, I completed my education. Then I was in work in some MNCs in India, in US, and all that. But in back of the mind, always
To
this
find
was
solutions.
what I can contribute to. So many people are suffering, and these numbers which we project in various conferences, that we are number one, we are number two after China in diabetes type of disease. This is not a a
Proud.
proud number.
Proud showcasing, I tell
So
you.
that was like when I was searching, where in India the great institutes are doing the research in that. Then I came across Indian Institute of Science, ISC Bangalore. Uh, there is a very advanced center in ISC, Center for Nanoscience. They work with very cutting edge nanotechnologies.
Super.
And I written that, see, I'm so and so, and I want to do very specifically in the chronic and public health disease. I can come here if there is some opportunity given. And there is a faculty in IC, Professor Navakanta Bhatt. He's the current Dean of Interdisciplinary Sciences in IC. And he was working in some of these domain. And it was, I always say that when I look back and connect the dot, I got the reply that come. We have the diabetes as a core area, and we have the research group here, and you can join. Then I.
Well, in the meanwhile, did you go back to your village or anywhere near that, and your relatives and all that who had already this chronic disease and similarly continuing to struggle with
Yes,
the distance?
it is. One day I went to that doctor who diagnosed me.
Nice. Nice.
And I told, about more than 20 year or so,
Oh, wow.
diagnosed one boy, and
That's me.
and he said that I remember still, because the mother was also very nervous and I was treating. And he asked me, how is that boy?
Here I am.
I am that boy.
So nice. So nice.
And he felt very happy. They go, oh, I'm so happy to see, and that
This
these
is a wow.
achievements happened and all that. So I then look in village around that. One thing is the lack of education into
Awareness.
this chronic awareness. People still feel the chronic condition, either it is the severe anemia, simple thing in the pregnancy, for example, or diabetes. It's like if you are not taking sweet, then you are okay. This is a very common practice in the remote areas, actually. So in my village. And I saw so many like foot amputation and all those type of associated complications are very frequent in
I'm sure your resolve, to do something about this would have even strengthened, because the situations after so many years is the plight for them is the same, Vinay.
Correct. You're right, actually. So, this was like the one motivation for this innovation. And we started this research in IC, Center for Nanoscience, and we had interdisciplinary team of pathologists also, like one Dr. P.R. Krishnaswamy. He used to be earlier director of Jaslok Mumbai, and then in Manipal, Malya Foundations and all. Then, so we had a good interdisciplinary, thing. And the core question was firstly, what should be the technology, and what should be the test panel for which we want the new innovation in
This
point.
was started how many years back?
This is in way back in 2012 or so. And these tests to me were very familiar,
Yes.
like microalbuminuria, ACR,
Yes.
HbA1c, glucose, of course. So we came across and we decided, okay, whole panel of diabetes. We
Hmm.
want the new technology for early chronic kidney disease. We want, HbA1c.
Hmm.
We want the new marker also, like glycated
I get
albumin,
it. Hmm.
which is a very new novel marker because HbA1c give house the control of, 3 months.
3 months, and this will give for 2 weeks.
Two
Yes.
weeks,
Hmm.
so that we can control the whole spectra, instant
Yes.
blood glucose 90 days and 15 days.
Yes.
So like that, we identified
Hmm.
the public health type of marker, and of course hemoglobin was also one, because the data which was came across to us, like it was a very common marker for many disease condition,
Hmm.
and in diabetes also, of course, in chronic kidney disease, hemoglobin is a very important marker. And the pregnant woman, like the data from health ministry was like 20 to 40% maternal death.
Yeah, that
But,
is the very sad thing because, we try to fix everything in the short span of pregnancy, and that can't happen. It has to be pre-pregnancy, inter-pregnancy,
yes,
across life course. Every time we must ensure that all those which can be fixed should be fixed.
correct.
Because a knee-jerk reaction that some pregnancy may occur, it's not,
Yeah, I mean there is no, like, the magic actually, because life should be supported, not during a very short span, but how we think, what
exactly.
we are eating, how is the thought process, lifestyle, and all things are
Yeah,
converging.
so across the life course approach is really, what we are trying to drill into people's minds, prevent illness, promote wellness at every stage of your life. You prepare yourself for the next stage because there is time available. So, tabhi to karo. So slowly, I think the mindset slowly, steadily is changing. And as you said, the awareness, especially with gamification and the digital media, and many in the next generation taking to it, being very tech savvy, they want to know more, but we have to make it interesting and authentic.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
it'll click because then they should take some responsibility for their own,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, health. Everything they cannot be doing anything that they want, come fully sick and say, "I'll be doctor and God now will
Yes.
take care."
That is that awareness, like, in fact, this is a little unfortunate in country like us, where we have so vast population, and healthcare is still in the lower.
Not
When
prioritized
symptom
neither by the,
appears, then
yeah,
only we
and
think
neither
about
by the people nor by the politicians, both. And
it.
because people also don't think it's so much on priority. They
Correct.
would but now unfortunately both this anemia and diabetes which we are just talking about, half
Correct.
the at least as far as girls and women are concerned, more than half of them will be anemic, and a substantial number will be diabetes in pregnancy, about 5 million every year out of 30 million pregnancies, and they
Correct.
move on to type 2 diabetes. So they're
Correct.
adding and adding and adding to this vicious cycle. So what the Pathsodh has done, if it can be just, right across the spectrum of life.
Yes, in fact, this was the whole mission, because basically we are the researchers. At the first level, we were not the businessman when we were starting.
Hmm.
But when the technology developed, and we had initially like 4 patents in ISC for
Hmm.
different markers, including hemoglobin, HbA1c,
Hmm.
microalbuminuria, glycated albumin, and all that.
Hmm.
Then IC has a great culture of research.
Yes.
And I remember that time, director of IC, Professor P. Balram, and where we were very frequently discussing, is a very great protein biochemist.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they all, think that, when technology is developed and we validated it,
Hmm.
it should reach to the public.
Yes.
Because many time the academia people blame that you are only publishing the paper, and not
Hmm. Yeah, so
developing
from bench to
something.
bedside,
Yeah,
from the lab to the mobile van, everywhere, it has to translate. So innovations is one part, implementation is the other, and then you will see the impact.
correct, correct,
So
correct.
we really need to hit hard on how many people it can reach and what difference it can make to them.
Yes,
Because publish or perish, that era is, it's a separate vertical.
Yes,
altogether.
definitely.
Mm.
So, like that, Pathsodh started. Of course, inside ISC only, they have a incubation center there, Society for Innovation and Development, and the goal was like first we should have the release of the test, which are of the public health
Yes.
interest, and we completed the clinical validation. Very rigorous, more than 2 years,
Mm.
with the very good pathology lab with the ethics clearances and all that requirement.
Along the way, did you have to make many modifications? Because during the process of validation,
Correct.
I do remember when the HemoQ, which was the first point of care, which I
Correct.
brought it into the country about a decade ago, and then we were struggling because it was overcalling, undercalling, because that initial validation was done at our center and few centers around. We
Correct.
kept on giving the Swiss company lots of feedbacks, and
Correct.
it took about 2 years to actually get that on board, that we are happy now with what is happening. Even
Right.
there, we are not so happy, but we are somewhat happy
Correct. Correct.
than earlier.
Correct.
Mm.
So I completely agree, because medical device field is very challenging,
Hmm.
particularly the interdisciplinary in nature. We need biologist, chemist, hardware engineer, software engineer, data analyst. All that requirement is there. And when we say the clinical validation, for example, we have the the some of the best lab in Bangalore, like Ananda Newberg,
Yes. Mm.
uh, where we did the gold standard testing.
Hmm.
And we phase wise did, for example, first is the proof of concept. It is easy to develop, with standard and with, but blood is something like where a pool of molecules more than 1,000, and interference vary patient to patient.
Yes.
If I have the 14 hemoglobin and other person also have 14 hemoglobin, but the noise level in the blood can be very different. So technologically, it is very challenging that how we will handle that in a very tiny test strip type of thing,
Yeah.
where the blood volume is something like sub microliter or zero point 0.5 microliter.
So it's all in that one drop.
One drop. And
Yeah.
you need to do the whole reaction mechanism into that fine capillary.
Wow.
That challenges was there. That is why this research, when we were doing, we did so much of the noise analysis. Now we have more than 34 international patents which are granted in 8 countries.
So proud of you. Yes. Great.
So that is all these innovation on the sensing chemistry, which can be stable in any environment, which doesn't need any special storage condition, and we should get the the result something like very quickly. And the this is our new series of nano series, which we say
Wow.
it should be handy also. It should be aesthetically good
And I
also.
love that pink color, because they have to all be in the pink of health.
Yes.
Nice.
In fact, lot of gynecologists ask us, like, we need in one device, let us say, blood glucose and hemoglobin both.
That's our major,
So this one version we came across for HV and BG,
super.
and all these are now certified by CDSCO board center. These are class C certified, which is highest classification of CDSCO certified devices. And we have something like 8,000 square feet our own manufacturing facility
Excellent.
for the test strip, where we have the capacity more than 1 crore per month.
So if we possess that one piece of instrument, the
Correct.
consumables, what we call the cuvette and the test strip,
Correct.
cost-wise, it is feasible to expand this if we expand the volume?
Yes, definitely, because we have the whole control. We are the inventor. We know the molecule, what is going, and it is like as handy. This is, for example, hemoglobin test system. So, and similar, like a pain-free or minimum pain, it should have. Result should be within few seconds.
In the fast-paced world of healthcare, every moment counts. Patients don't have time to wait for lab results. That's where point-of-care testing steps in. A game changer that brings diagnostics closer to the patient right at the bedside.
And Team Anupat, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Vinay Kumar, Professor Navakanta Bhatt, and Dr. P.R. Krishnaswamy. Let's hear that round of applause.
We began our research in healthcare technologies sometime around 2003. Our vision was to enable disease diagnostics to make it available, accessible, and affordable to all.
If we want to democratize the diagnostics which can reach anywhere, anytime, then the concept of a point of care medical device is very novel.
We wanted to leverage nanotechnology and create point of care diagnostic solution. Thanks to Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, under the National Initiative of Nanoelectronics, we had just established state-of-the-art nanofabrication and nanocharacterization facility at IISc.
At the heart of Pathsodh lies these two critical capabilities, nanofabrication and nanocharacterization. Let's break it down for you. Nanofabrication, think of it as creating tiny structures like building blocks at the tiniest scale, smaller than a grain of sand. Now, let's zoom in even further. Nanocharacterization is like examining these tiny structures under a superpowered microscope. We analyze their properties, how they behave, how they interact with other materials. By understanding these details, we enhance the accuracy and reliability of our devices.
We decided to leverage this and focus on a particular technology called electrochemical biosensor technology. Over a span of 10 years, through a sustained research through PhD students, we were able to create this handheld biosensor technology using disposable sensor strips, a very low-cost solution with many international patents, close to 30 patents protected in 8 countries. That is when, in the year 2015, along with my student Vinay Kumar, we decided to co-found a startup at IISc.
And then came Anupat, Pathsodh's groundbreaking lab-on-palm. Imagine a device that fits in your hand but holds the power of a fully equipped lab.
This technology can detect and diagnose the disease like diabetes and its complications, anemia, and malnutrition. Recently, we also added during the corona pandemic the COVID-19 total antibody test into the same device.
And today, this technology is deployed with all regulatory clearances in 12 different states of India. And it has reached to remote corners of the country where you wouldn't have pathology labs, which would require very sophisticated facilities.
Their relentless pursuit of excellence earned them accolades, the kind that transcends mere recognition. Pathsodh isn't just about devices, it's about hope, compassion, and a vision for a healthier world.
One prick and one drop of blood, and then you use 2-3 strips and put it on that and then insert it again and again, or one strip and you put and you get both the values.
So we have, in fact, we made one more strip, what we called lab on the strip,
Nice.
where multiple tests on same strip can happen. We didn't launch it intentionally because of marketing dynamics and all. But right now we have the single device which can perform multiple tests.
Okay.
But the strips are different for
Different.
each test.
So you just prick and they take
Correct.
Drop on each strip and then keep.
Correct. Correct.
But if you keep it aside for maybe 5 minutes before you just remove and reinsert, is that okay?
Yeah, but not advisable because of the clotting in the blood. Because one test, for example, blood glucose test can happen 4 to 5 seconds.
Excellent.
Hemoglobin testing time is something like 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So it is fast enough so that within a minute, multiple tests, or within an hour, lot of tests it can perform.
So when we insert the hemoglobin stripper, there's some mechanism in that device which will go, and then, hit the hemoglobin value. And then in the same device, you put another strip and it will go.
Correct. So it gives you the two options.
Yeah.
Whether BG or HB you want to measure. Then we can select, there is a select button here. If you want to make BG, then I can press it and it will ask the sample.
Okay.
So this is the selection,
Yes.
very easily it can be made.
This is, these two tests are extremely useful for us in the women's healthcare space, because oftentimes in the camps, when we go, my thought process is to integrate. We see, sometimes they say only for cervical cancer screening. So much human resource, so many people are gathered there, and we are doing only one test and coming out, not good enough. Because that same lady will need a hemoglobin check, she'll need a glucose, she'll need a BP check by the digital BP apparatus, she'll need a weight check because the obesity is a huge menace. She'll also need a clinical breast examination and the cervical cancer.
Correct.
It's fine. You combine everything. And so this is the concept of a wellness clinic. Okay. Because these many things, if we get a hold of, there is a lot that we can do to, get her into a better bracket of health. So presently, Vinay, I am holding the position of Division Director of Well Women Healthcare at the international level. So I have been telling them that the smart cities concept has to be like wellness cities.
Yes,
everybody should know this much data minimum, and they should, the next level of either telemed or some connect with the semi-skilled healthcare providers, the frontliners, and the specialists.
Correct.
Then, it goes all green, amber, or red, and then you flag it off, and then because we cannot diagnose them and leave them alone with anxiety.
Yes.
We need to get to the next step. Okay. So, and there are millions in the country who have never, ever got their sugars tested.
Yes, this is like undiagnosed is more than diagnosed, actually.
Yes, a lot of them. Because there is no that preventive care opportunity or the mindset. And also, if the girl or woman comes to my doorstep for whatsoever reason, there are some basic things that I have to do and use that opportunity.
Yes.
That is, something of my dream, that it should be sensitized, and every single specialist healthcare provider should start doing this.
Correct.
Because if they come and only fix one problem, they're missing the opportunity to tell them on the wheel of wellness other things that they want. So then this device, what you're having, coming back to it, how much it is, deployed into the segment of healthcare providers? How have they accepted it, and how excited they are about the use of this? What value they find in it?
Yes. So, in fact, our this new manufacturing facility just more than 1.5 years ago, we moved. Earlier we have a little smaller facility. Now the device we already selling into 15 Indian states to the private clinicians. And we have our online sale also. Doctors are using it. We have the recurring, doctors who are feeling happy after using it. And as recent as, 1 million tests of HbA1c and blood glucose, we shipped to the Namma clinic in Bangalore only.
Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah. So, I mean, that, that's why I said when the volumes are more, I do hope that this will become,
so we have now acceptance in the very vast segment. You may know the Ramaiah Memorial Medical College. They are using our device in all their ICUs, wards, and everywhere. where the, regulatory is very strict, in like private hospitals group. So we have the presence in the governments is using it, private hospitals are using it, and
But if it's validated, I'm sure, Vinay, every one of us would like to use it.
yes, in fact, validation at the multiple stages. One is like for certification purpose. They do the validation. For example, simple example I'm giving, blood glucose. We did our validation for 40,000 tests, but there is the requirement of central government health ministry lab, National Institute of Biological. We submitted everything to them. They took around more than a month, 2 month time. They did more than 1,200 tests, and then they
Not
validated
convinced.
that they certified it like this is as per the WHO guidelines for diabetes screening, as per the ISO guideline accuracy. So this is one thing. But
I
if
think you've
you go
done it in the fastest, because even 1 or 2 months is a very short time for such approvals.
yes,
Yes,
but
it's a very short time.
it's
Excellent.
like we were very upbeat onto that because we did our internal validation so rigorous and phase wise. Then, for example, big hospital groups, they do always their own validation,
Yes.
their own lab before accepting anything. And we have any such, even the government do their own validation before accepting. We have so many validation report.
No, that's why, with being in the, being working for 3 decades in anemia space, I was very excited about this point of care. I said, hey, we can, because they were using that blotting paper test and just seeing the eyes and pale. I said, no, this is looking far better than that. So the reason why I had to validate in my own clinic is because nobody else was ready to do this. Can you believe it? Nobody else, had any trust. Then in one of the major events, I bought a couple of these and donated it to my friends and colleagues. If you start using this now,
Correct.
and then you also get convinced. And then the state of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Padmanabhan and group said that, no, let's explore this in the government sector. And then now that company could not even cater to the numbers that we needed in terms of the so now we are so proud that the Make in India devices, which are right at our own household, we can very, very proudly, put it into the maximal use for the maximal benefit also, which will then reflect on the foundation of the hard work that you have done. It'll be a fitting, response to the work that has gone behind.
Actually, India need their own technology. There is no escape from this fact. And, we are importing more than 80% medical devices. And there is a lot of ecosystem is building with lot of, government initiatives also, awareness also. But it need the, a great networking and, the advice or feedback from doctors like you. So that innovators we are from the sensors background, we are from physics, we are from nanotechnology background, but it need a close connection to the everybody in ecosystem with the single goal of the patient health.
Yes.
And then we can achieve it, I'm sure.
The regulatory processes, everybody, generally keeps talking about how tough it is, etc. So, in your opinion, is that one of the big barriers for the startups to come up with medical devices? Because, there were some kind of rumor talks around, no, we don't want to get into medical devices because it's very tough regulation. And by the time we actually get to the market, we will be losing many years and, there may be not much out of it. Is that the situation? Somewhat true.
This is,
Constant grumbling for no reason, yeah?
This is true, but there is no escape from that. The problem is, when startup, how startup usually deep tech startup started with some innovation, with some patent, some novelty, some new thing. And the people who are behind the technology, they are not from the regulatory background. This is a fresher domain for them.
Yes.
And anything which you have to learn from the beginning, then that is a resistance. But regulatory domain, thou in a one hand, is a tricky thing. It take time. Why it take time? Because you need to understand lot of things.
Yeah.
You need to understand what is, for example, in the context of India, what is the medical device regulation 2017 rule. And if you are taking ISO 13485, then you need to understand what is the ISO standard for medical device.
Because we have a hard hit usually on the quality. So
Correct.
yeah.
Then QMS, and to implement that. So first you need, and innovators are very near to the research, which is a one component of this whole, whole system.
Right.
But when we start the startup, the innovators start the startup, we are very possessive towards R&D only. But there is the other avenues which, if we lose, or we are not giving the equal focus, then we can lose.
We have to lose in totality, because what is meant for it will not happen.
Correct. Because a product is not the only research, actually.
That is true.
What matter for the end user, it is how convenient, how accurate, certification should be back, and what is the quality standard you have. And in top of that, even some customer also give the feedback, or patients, like, if the color is not black, then that would be good.
Yeah, I know, because to their perception, what they give importance to, you never know. So
in the marketing and regulatory field, it is like a very unknown field for the innovators.
Yes.
Marketing also.
See, hardcore doctors, they'll not know much about marketing, they'll not know much about admin, but we are forced to do everything together. So when we speak of breaking the silos, because each vertical is having its own strength, and they all have to come together in a fine way, or the single person has to double up into so many things, which is in itself a challenge. But unless that happens, 360-degree, unless that happens, it doesn't get to where it has to actually reach.
One thing I can say, that in medical technology, it is hard to make, but hard to replace also. We are using technology, for example, kidney function test. This is based on Jeffy reaction, invented in 1960s. What we change in the pathology lab is the automation of the analyzer, but the core reaction is same.
I agree.
So if you have a new technology in medical device, it is not like a mobile phone model that next year new mobile phone model of iPhone. So it is very painful to reach to that stage. Once you reach, then nobody can replace you overnight. It is not some app that everybody can.
It will sustain.
It is a sustainable.
It will sustain. Interesting. See, last two questions. Okay. What more is in your pipeline to add to this? Because we want definitely that hemoglobin and BG that you showed, because that is our, we should not escape from doing. That has to be done across age groups, and because even the PCO cases, younger girls with obesity are also having their dysglycemia, or the blood sugars are fluctuating. So we want to tap it and treat it at the earliest, or advise at the earliest. So besides that, and some more things like HbA1c, glycated hemoglobin, and what you have already added onto this, the 5 different things into the same device or similar devices.
Right.
Is there something more that you think is the urgent need for our country?
Yes, we are working, of course, at the R&D level to serum creatinine, for example, a very quick test, which is important for kidney health, and it should be economical and accurate. We are working on that. Plus, we are also working something onto the closed loop system or continuous glucose monitoring type of technology.
Right.
That in our pipeline, and of course in medium to long term, it is the cardiac marker like troponin.
Excellent. One more last question. See, we are so greedy that you give us something and then we want more. So now there is a prick that is involved. So any idea or any thought process on non-invasive?
Non-invasive is a buzzword of today's technical thing. So there are two things. At the one side, we have pathology lab, where they can draw 1 ml, 2 ml sample, which is quite a bit. Then we reach to the minimal invasive. I'm sure we are very near to that. This is also in our thought process at the research level. We are
Because
working.
I am intuitively feeling
I
they will
didn't
be able
want
to do
to
it,
I
we'll do
didn't
it.
want to open up onto that, but yes, it is in our R&D bucket list.
Super.
But what is important in medical device, because many people trying the non-invasive, what is the important for patient and particularly for clinician is the accuracy.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, if the accuracy is coming with 2 ml of the blood, clinicians are okay with that, but it should be accurate.
Yes, yes. Because, further management decisions, if you're
Correct.
going to base on that test,
Right.
you can imagine how dangerous it can be
Correct.
if
Correct.
it overcalls or undercalls. We'll either miss something or
Right.
overdo something, and
Right.
it's
Right.
really,
Right.
really, that's why for any of those things, even if we buy these devices, even today, though it is validated, we always have an opportunity to for the patients coming for pregnancy test, we will anyway draw their blood sample because there are so many other things which cannot
Correct.
be handled at point of care. But we
Correct.
will always put one drop into such patients, and internally for our own shanti and satisfaction, we
Yes.
will do that, so that we are
It's
confident. Yes,
extremely important.
this is
But
the
yes, now in the technology, whole spectra is changing very fast,
yeah.
and I'm sure uh, we are near on this whole non-invasive type of technology also.
Yeah.
That is anyway is the need of the hour,
Yeah,
definitely.
the reason being now what we've done is that, see, from the high-tech labs to the one finger prick which the paramedical staff and the frontline can do, the next level is community volunteers or wellness ambassadors that we are creating who will go block to block, home to home. And for them to do things with ease and confidence, the non-invasive will probably, will be the best option for them so that
Yes.
they can flag off, and we have to go to the doorstep of every, because the country is big, it's diverse, and whatever you
Correct.
say, there are constraints of bringing them to the setting rather than me going there. And even in schools and colleges,
Right.
believe me, Vinay, even one prick, if we have to do even girls in 8th, 9th, 10th standard, heavy menstrual bleeding, we know they're anemic, but the permission for that one prick,
Yeah. I understand that.
very difficult. Parents have to agree, school has to agree. They will
Right.
not let us, just a general kind of an advice, because otherwise, massive anemia camps, if we want to do, it cannot be possible in the schools and college setting where they need it the most, because at that level, if we catch them,
Correct.
and then get them on to doing better for themselves, it'll be a great thing. That is why the mind was tempted to ask you about the non-invasive,
Yes, no,
because
this very relevant question. In fact, hemoglobin test is like once in 2 to 3 months, but non-invasive device for blood glucose, for example, where diabetic patient several time has to prick.
yes, yes.
This is old, like either hemoglobin or blood glucose or some of the basic test in non-invasive, definitely.
Yeah, and we feel so bad telling our pregnant patients that first of all, she's grappling with so many challenges, and again, before meal, after meal, everything, and then now they're continuous monitoring, and they
Correct.
get. But believe me, any class of patients, irrespective of their socioeconomic, educational backgrounds, in pregnancy, you can call them the best behaved, because they'll do anything that they want for the child. Anything.
Correct.
Tell her to
Correct.
prick 20 times, also she will prick and give me the readings. But the moment the delivery is over, it's freedom.
Yes. Yes.
It's the whole behavior change. It's so glaring, and it's an
Yes.
interesting human phenomenon, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So, thinking, oh, Pathsodh, it's a new device, new person, how this podcast will go, and we have not recognized that we have spoken for double the length of time that we intended, because the journey is so
I'm sorry.
exciting, amazing.
I took a lot of.
You are unstoppable, Vinay, and that's what should define you even in your future ventures. And we are so proud that from this beautiful garden city of Bengaluru, Indian Institute of Science, which gave you the first entry into what you always wanted to do. And there could have been nothing more contributory, reflecting on your own life course and life cycle, from where you started, how you started, where you've come. that is an amazing journey that you have taken us through. And I'm so very grateful for your time, your insights, and your intent to do a lot more for not only our country, all low middle income countries, and all the Western world, which is now falling in line with the India innovation, saying this is the place where the best outputs are coming in from. So keep making us proud. More power to you. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you so much. Namaste.